Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Yesterday, I presented a presentation regarding the state's efforts to subpoena the Kohberger family members to be their witnesses at the upcoming trial against Bryan C. Kohberger. In other words, the state has gone on public record in the motion in limine concerning family members in the courtroom and have stated that they intend to call Kohberger family members as their witnesses at trial against their family member, Bryan Kohberger. In response, Judge Stephen J. Hippler ordered the state to submit details regarding the calling of the Kohberger family at the upcoming trial of this matter, which is scheduled to commence August 11th, 2025. The details that Judge Hippler ordered the state to submit in camera, meaning for his eyes only, were to have been submitted by the hard deadline of Friday, April 25th, 2025. As of yesterday in the afternoon, there was nothing showing that any notice of compliance with that court order had been submitted by April 25th, 2025, similar to what the state had done when the state was previously ordered that they submit materials relative to a dispute over DNA, specifically IgG evidence. We have now seen an update on the case summary page, which is maintained by the clerk of court, noting a notice of compliance on April 28th, 2025. First point that I'd like to address is that there is no further details, as the clerk occasionally does when other matters are filed, as to who filed it and what the notice of compliance related to. As you can see here, it is a PDF document. This tells us that this is a public record, which will ultimately hit the docket. Note that it is filed the 28th of April. This does not mean that that was the date that this notice of compliance was sent. Sometimes it may take a day or so for the clerk to file something. So whatever notice of compliance this is, there is a possibility that it was filed on Friday, the 25th of April or before, and for whatever reason was not docketed by the clerk until the 28th. We're going to have to wait and see when this document does hit the docket as to who filed it and its purpose, and when the notice of compliance related to, what date. Secondly, there have been documents that have been filed on the docket both before and after this April 28th notice of compliance was filed. You will see it falls in between two documents, one from the 25th of April, one from the 29th of April. Both of those have been published on the docket. So I'm just giving my opinion. I don't know why this was not published as well. We're going to continue to monitor the docket for further developments. And once this notice of compliance is filed, whatever it is, we will do an update either here on this YouTube channel or on the Idaho versus Kohberger podcast, which does upload onto this YouTube channel, so that you will be apprised as to what this notice of compliance is for. The other matter that I wanted to address and to bring to your attention is that it is our understanding that any trial subpoena that would involve the Kohberger family would likely need to be domesticated in Pennsylvania, because that is our understanding of where the Kohberger family lived and continues to live. And submitting a subpoena for a resident of Idaho by an Idaho court only requires a process server serve that subpoena upon that witness. And if the witness does not show up, then there could be potential contempt of court concerns for not abiding by the mandates of the subpoena. With respect to anyone who lives across state boundaries in any of the other 49 states, the same is not true. There is not automatic requirement that a subpoena served on a person of another state who lives or works in another state has with respect to a subpoena issued in state. In Pennsylvania, for example, there is a statute that governs what needs to happen to domesticate an out-of-state subpoena. It is located 42 Pennsylvania Statute Section 5335. And I have published the 2021 version of that statute. So basically what would need to happen is that Idaho would need to request with the clerk the issuance of a subpoena for the Kohberger family, in my opinion, because they do reside in Pennsylvania or wherever they are currently living right now. If and when that happens, I believe that we will all learn about it, because I think that the press in Pennsylvania and the surrounding states would learn of it and report about it. For example, if such a request was made in Monroe County, which is where Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, that the local media would report on it, or the regional media, for example, in Philadelphia, which has regularly reported on this case, would do so. I will continue to monitor the situation, and if and when I learn of any such subpoena being requested in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or anywhere else for the Kohberger family, I will let you know. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them here. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.